Yep. Okay. So get set up on my little platform here. Got the audio going as well, so that's just to kind of tell how my sound is. How's it going, Leonard Trunk? So I had the brilliant idea to go through and completely wipe out my PC. I did that. I think I tweeted about it last week or just 5 days ago or so, and I was thinking, man, I have so much stuff on my computer that I just install, just kind of like rolling and accumulating stuff every month, and a lot of it like small node modules and stuff like that, little pieces of JavaScript or maybe some executable, or even Visual Studio, some type of component on top of that. And a lot of it, it's like one-time use. I use it for a moment and then I just never use it again. It just kind of sits there and atrophies. It doesn't atrophy. That's the problem. So decided, I should probably just reset my machine. Why not? Like a spring cleaning type of thing. And yeah, that seemed like a great idea at the time, until I realized after the fact that there's a lot of stuff, a lot of configurations on my machine that I should have probably written down, taken note of before doing something so extreme. But it's not too bad. It just takes me a few seconds to get things set up again. I'm going to kind of get the lights turned off in here, so the light right here is a little more helpful. All right, so what is this? We had a visitor, one of our remote workers who's in Canada right now, come visit us in the office and brought us some delicious gifts. Lay's ketchup chips. I don't know. Okay, so see, I got to get the rest of this set up. That was the deal, right? That I would broadcast the setup and configuration of this system. Okay, so I need to add some text elements to the screen here. Let's see, add text. Ooh, this is cool. Okay. So y'all should be seeing a giant text item on screen. Let's do Twitter handle. Font, I'm going to go with some good old Sego. Maybe, if I can find it. There we go. Yeah. Capture the machine screen. I totally could. Let's see here. Yeah, I suppose I can. The only thing is I want to be able to, I need to see the scene that I'm setting up right now. So if I switch scenes, which I actually can't do, let me do this real quick. So I'll press OK. If I switch scenes like this, now you can see my computer screen, but I can't edit this scene number 1. Scene number 1 is what I want to edit. So I can see scene number 1 down here, in this preview right there, in the bottom right, but that doesn't help me a whole lot. I need to actually be able to see scene number 1, but whenever I switch to scene number 1, it's going to show my foreground camera right here. So you have to just bear with me as I get this all set up. So you'll see me resizing. Oops, I don't want to move videos around. I want the video to stay where it is, and I want the text to be resized. And I'll edit that. Yeah, I actually like this application quite a bit. It's not too bad. Not too shabby. Is there not like a font size in here? What is this 100? Is that opacity? Yeah. Okay. I don't see a font size in here though. Color, layouts. Yeah, maybe it's just in sheer pixel size. Interesting. Oh, wait. Nope. Never mind. That's transition. Okay, never mind. This is as good as it's gonna get. So I will make that a little bit smaller. That's still kind of huge. And I need more than just that. I need to get also. That is so cool. The setup process. I need to get the URL for actually submitting bugs. Yeah, that's what I think. It's kind of like in CSS, there's a background size property, and you have your element. The element can be any size you want. Say it's like 250 pixels by 250 pixels, so it's a perfect square. And you can set the background size to, I believe it is cover or contain, or you can give it an explicit pixel dimension. Cover will expand it out such that the entire image is larger than the element itself. So if the element is 250 pixels tall and 250 pixels wide, and your image is 500 pixels wide and 100 pixels tall, it'll expand out the lesser of those two values until it matches the same metric or the same value on the element itself. So it would then expand out that 100, it would stretch it down to 250, which would increase the width as well, kind of proportionally. And that's kind of what it seems like the text here is doing. So, hey, Tennessee Bighorn, how's it going? I'm just kind of going through and getting my my system set up here. You know, this kind of stinks. I can't right-click on this text item and duplicate it. What if I can control? There we go. I can control C, control V. I'll move that up, and we will change the text of this. I don't recall if I had. I think I had the bugs URL on bottom. Totally blanking here. And I had the icons too, and I have to finding the bugs icon from our old dev tools was actually kind of a labor, so I don't think I'm going to go through and do that again. But I can put the URL inside here. bugs.microsoftedge.com. All right, that is looking fairly decent. Love how my black shirt against the dark background makes me look like just a floating head. Okay. So what is everybody else up to? This is going to be my last ever Weekend Warrior debugging thing. This is, well, my last ever Microsoft Weekend Warrior debugging thing. As I've said to a couple people on Twitter, I've been doing streaming and videos and stuff for a long time, like probably at least a decade, probably a lot longer than that in some capacity. I remember back in the 90s, before we really had the bandwidth to stream video, I had an application that would take a screenshot of my desktop every 10 or 15 seconds. It would then upload the screenshot through FTP to a server, and then I had a script, a JavaScript, I believe, a small script on my website that would request a non-cached version of that image, because it had the same URL that image did. We would just overwrite it every 15 or 20 seconds or so. And therefore, I was kind of streaming my desktop at 15-second intervals to my website back in the 90s. And so it was it's pretty wild. So Tennessee Bighorn is asking if I'm still going to be streaming weekend stuff. I don't know, honestly. I'm going to be starting a new gig here before too long. This is definitely a passion of mine, is doing this public streaming, public debugging stuff. But we're going to have to see kind of how it works with the new schedule. I may be doing something like this during the week as opposed to on the weekends, which could be more or less convenient depending on who you are and where you live and what your own personal schedule is. So might be doing this, you know, sometime between Monday and Friday in the future. Let's see. So I need to finish making sure I have everything set up. What else am I missing here? So let me check scene number 2. Scene number 2 is going to be sharing my desktop. I believe that looks right. So you actually see the chat window over here on the side. I can chat in there. Hello world. Message not sent. Error. Try again. Okay, well that doesn't really make me too happy. I can see that the chat window is just it's a little bit obscured by my video. But I think everything looks good. Okay. What's next? So I think now I need to make sure that my remote connection is set up with the other machine here, since I use this for the actual debugging. This machine, so if you're not familiar with my arrangement, I've kind of mentioned it in previous videos. I have my personal Surface Book right here. That's what I'm streaming from. The personal Surface Book is actually running build 14393 from July of this year. And yeah, and then I have over here on the side, I have my desktop system, which is almost always on a nightly build of Windows 10. Today it is on the build from last night. I have a ThinkPad sitting here just below my main monitors. I could, you know, pull that out right there. And this is also running, not really on the nightly cadence, but usually in lockstep with the, what's it called? The fast ring on the insiders. And I'm usually remotely connected to this device and just streaming the pixels through this one. So let me go ahead and kind of close everything down on here. Ran into this issue where a recent build was conflicting with my network card on my desktop, and before I realized that I should just go in and uninstall my drivers and let the default ones handle it, I spent actually a couple days on my my ThinkPad. Maybe a day. It wasn't a couple days. It was really just a very short period of time before I realized I could just go in and uninstall my drivers. All right, I'm going to restart this machine too. Can I share the build number of the desktop machine? I have the capacity and the ability to do so, but I don't know that I'm supposed to, so I'm not going to. You can guess though. You know, the thing is, I've really been impressed. I'm looking at the build number right now of my desktop. It's kind of right on the other side of this corner right here. What is the current fast ring at? So if I bring my keyboard back over here and I go to what is it? It's well, if I go to edge.ms, that takes me over there. It's changelog, right? Yeah, changelog.microsofsedge.com. Changelog tells me that we are currently, the fast ring is at 14.915, which is very, very close to the build that I'm on my desktop. Very close. So I wouldn't expect us to have little in common. I think we're going to be very, very close to one another with regards to what our builds are doing. 14.9. I am not on 14.925. No. Is that a thing? Is that like some type of leak information that you've come across? If it is, I don't think it's accurate. That's not what I'm on. And you can't just start guessing every possible build number either. Like it's 14.926, 14.924. I'm not gonna fold. I'm not gonna give in. Can't do it. Okay, so now my machine is all booted up here. I'm actually on, so 2 different builds here. My ThinkPad is actually on the same exact build as the Windows Insider Fastering, so that's nice. I love it when it's that way. Because I mean, honestly, if you out there in the community land report an issue and I can't repro it, it's tough to say whether or not I can't repro because we've already fixed the core issue or for some other reason. And so by having the same exact build that you're on, that definitely helps us communicate a little more effectively with one another. All right, so I need to switch this over to the same Wi-Fi network as my Surface Book. Excellent. Okay. Now I need to get remote connection set up. 14920. You didn't say that one. I didn't say any number, so yeah, it's not gonna happen. I gotta keep some secrets. Let's see here. All right, I'm gonna try and get my remote desktop connection going here. Let's see, I need to get the IP address of this device. Go to cmd ipconfig/all and go up and check the IP4 number. IP4 address. I remember I used to, when I was younger, I'd go into command and what did I used to type? CLS clears the screen. Dir will show you the current directory. Tree, I think it was maybe dir and tree. Whichever one it was, it would just fill the screen with the whole kind of hierarchy of my entire system. I felt like such an elite hacker. It was so amazing. I'd be like, invite my friends over and be like, 1 second, I need to computerize my internets. I'd open up command prompt and type tree or something. It would spit out this structure and they'd be like, whoa. They'd go all like, oh, what's his name? Keanu Reeves on me. Okay, let's see. Real stuff now, important professional stuff. Let me see here. What's my IP address? ipconfig. Oh, let's grab the IP4, IPv4. So glad I don't have to write the v6 thing. That'd be terrible. Sudo rm. No. Let's see. Although sudo is not I don't think that would really cause any problems for me on my Windows machine. Maybe inside, what is it, Ubuntu for Linux on Windows or the new shell environment? Okay, IPv4. I could use the, what was that movie, The Net, where the IP, the version 4 IP address that they had numbers that exceeded 255, which if you're not familiar with IP addresses or not, I guess, intimately familiar with them, it's just 4 blocks between 0 and 255. So you get 256 different options or 256 different values for each block. Uh-oh, can't connect. Did I do that wrong? I did. Okay. And The Net, a movie with Sandra Bullock, had I don't know, like a 270 something or like a 700. It was something just, pure craziness. Every second episode. Let's see. Okay, I need to try this 1 second, one at a time. Hey, it worked that time. Okay. Let's see, and I need to log in. Give me connectivity. Yes, there we go. I'm in business. Okay. So my second device is now taken care of. Let's see if I do smart sizing and So that should be good. So now if I were to share my scene number 2, you can now see my second device over here. And that will be the repro box. So that will be my, what was that build? That's build number 14915, yeah. Which I suppose I could get it just by running Windows key R and typing in WinVer. That would let me know as well. That arrangement looks very similar to your Surface Book. I'm not sure I understand. Oh, yes, possibly. It is, I believe, just the dark theme with blue accent color. The question is, how long does it take for your main display or your main machine to upgrade from build to build? It takes as long as it takes most anybody to install a new build. You know, you have it downloading in the background, and then whenever it's finally ready to go, you have to go through the full setup process. So yeah, it's not too terrible, but you typically try to do the vast majority of the work around lunchtime or something. So you start the build, go to lunch. When you get back, you have to go through like the high setup thing where it's fading in the messages. But it's pretty decent. It's not too bad. What specs does the main machine have? Oh, what was that? I'm trying to think how I figured that out. Was that, there used to be a single command. It wasn't index. It was something like that. Info, system information. Yeah, system information. So I don't know. See, I've got 18 gigs of RAM, so quite a bit. That's probably the main thing. The actual like hardware stuff is not my forte. So got quad core, all that good stuff. 18 gigs of RAM. I don't know. That's about as much as I understand. It has a computer. It's a computer with internet. It has internet capabilities, and it has the ability to JavaScript internets, and it computers fairly well when I'm interneting, and so that's generally how I understand these magical boxes. Okay, so I think we're going to go ahead and probably get things started. I've got a few URLs now. If you are going to be sharing URLs, slow or broken sites, I need to make sure I have my testing mobile device here as well. That reminds me, I have to get another application set up. So I'm going to set this up to charge. I need to download Project My Screen app, I believe it is. So let's go get that. Project My Screen. Actually, I can do it with Connect as well. Yes, one can never have enough RAM. I'm gonna try the Connect app today with the phone to see if this works. Because I've never used this in the past, and this is actually arguably a better way to do the remote streaming of one device to the other with your mobile device onto your desktop screen. My device was dead right now, so I'm gonna have to check on that in just a second. Yeah, speaking of RAM, what was that? There's a website where you can download more RAM. What was that URL? Was that download RAM? Downloadmoreram.com. Yes. So you could download more RAM by going to downloadmoreram.com. Good stuff, I'm sure. Let's see what that URL looks like. Downloadmoreram.com. Jump over and share the second scene. So if you need more RAM, I mean, I'm gonna grab 32 gigabytes here. This might take me a little bit of time to download, but it'll make my machine faster in the end. So there we go. Oh look, that's not too bad. Totally just beef up your machine in just a matter of seconds. All right, now I've got clearly 32 gigs of RAM. Look at that. You can tell how fast my machine is right now. Oh, this is amazing. It's just blazing. Oh, I feel so liberated. Yeah, just go. You can download more RAM on your phone. You could probably, if you got one of them fancy new refrigerators, download some more RAM for your refrigerator as well. All right, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and, so there is a tweet. I'm going to probably tweet out a second tweet this morning. I'm going to retweet the one from yesterday, actually. And then if you have slower broken sites that you want to look at in the next hour or so, please respond to that tweet and let me know which URLs you'd like to take a look at. So Josh is asking how many more of these we have left. Josh, this is the last one. Yeah, this is the last Microsoft Weekend Warrior Live debugging extravaganza for right now, for the foreseeable future. There may be similar efforts, and I would encourage you, if you want to be kind of notified of those, follow at Jonathan Sampson. That's my personal Twitter account. I'm kind of moving it today, since obviously encouraging people to follow Sampson MSFT. It's kind of, it's run out of runway, out of mileage a little bit, and so I'm probably not going to be using the Sampson MSFT account much in the future. But as I've said on Twitter, this type of arrangement right here, doing videos, streaming debugging sessions, it's kind of in my DNA. And so I'm going to continue doing this in the future, probably in some capacity or another. Let's see. So I'm going to find my tweet from yesterday or a couple days ago and retweet that. And hopefully we'll get some more URLs to look at. There's already some on there, but the more the merrier. So this was... Okay. Found it. All right, so I've just retweeted it again from my account, Sampson MSFT. So it says, tomorrow will be my final Weekend Warrior Live debugging broadcast at Microsoft. So if you have slow or broken sites, please go ahead and respond to that Twitter or that tweet and let me know. Oh, sweet. Windows Central. Oh, goodness. I hope people don't think it's tomorrow, Sunday. I don't know. I'm trying to think how to handle this best. Hopefully, I don't know. We'll see if it works. Will you deactivate your MSFTA Twitter account? Probably not, Michael. I'm probably going to leave that one active. I wouldn't want anyone else to come and pick it up and start to pretend to be me or something. Did I already announce which company I will be working for from now on? I have not. Not yet. So that's probably going to come this next week. So I will be... mid-September will be, when I leave Microsoft. And again, it's just kills me that I'm going to be leaving such an awesome team, an awesome product. We've really accomplished amazing, amazing things here. So it's, I'm still working on my MVP status. I'm going to try and become a MVP again, so I can work in some capacity with the Edge team here. Got to make sure I'm kind of brushed up on my my front-end skills. And hopefully I'll still get to hang out in some capacity with the Edge team in the future and kind of work towards a better web for everybody. You have to ask yourself, if I were going to the big G, would I be so excited about working with the Edge team in the future and stuff and making sure that Edge continues to do well? Probably not. Probably not. Probably not. That was it's kind of the first thing. The other thing is, if you're going to leave a place like Microsoft and go to a place like Google, yeah, that's kind of a jerk move. I don't know, a little bit to go directly, unless you've got some type of good explanation. I'm not going to Google. I'll be very clear about that. Not going to Google. Let's see. All right, so I'm going to announce that the live stream is going to be kind of kicking off here. Sharing the URL on Twitter, and hopefully people will start to respond with new URLs that are broken or slow. I do have a short list, and so we'll kind of go through those first. Microsoft is not evil. Edge is not evil. I can say that. The people I work with are fantastic. They genuinely care about the web and making sure it works for everybody. All right, so I'm tweeting this out right now. My final Microsoft Weekend Warrior debugging session kicks off in minutes. Reply with slow, broken sites, please. That'd be nice. And I need a kind of signature smiley face on there. All right. It's a happy tweet. It's a bittersweet tweet. It's a sad one, but with happiness kind of buried inside. Let's see. And I will retweet that personally myself. Hey, Michael West, goodness, you are #1 again. How in the world do you do that? It's like the light, like Michael West is faster than light. This is astounding. Like he operates on some type of quantum entanglement where distance and speed and physics just don't have any relevance to him whatsoever. He's unbelievably quick. Unbelievably quick. So Tennessee Bighorn says, be honest, you're going to start a new company and revive Netscape. I am going to revive the Lynx browser. I'm going to give it a fancy new Mosaic interface. And yeah, I'm going, nope. I don't know that Netscape would really do all that well on the modern web today. It was really cool though. I was looking through a lot of the old documentation online. Back when Netscape was really getting started, or around the time that JavaScript started kind of making its way into the browser, they were publishing early specs or early guides on how to use JavaScript and what features were supported. And I came across some of those. I think I might have shared them from my @browserfile Twitter account. And Netscape Navigator, I mean, it exists. It exists like the pyramids exist, but it's not under any active development or anything. So it was a fantastic browser at the time. But if you go to, I think, @browserfile, one of my other Twitter accounts, I believe I might have tweeted out not too long ago some of the early JavaScript guides from the netscape.com domain. And so it's really neat to see kind of how JavaScript itself has evolved from those early days back in the late 94, 95 time, so the mid-90s area, to what it is today. Well, Netscape actually was open sourced. I think that was around the time just before they kind of fell apart. I still remember exactly why. So at the time, when I started web development, it was around version IE 3 or something. Netscape was around 4. IE was at 3, something like that. And I still recall, I wasn't quite familiar with all of HTML or anything like that, but there was an attribute that you could use called BG image, I believe. Or it might have just been background. And I remembered you could put background on the body tag, So you could have, less than body background equals, stars dot GIF or something, stars dot GIF. And that would create a background image for the entire website. And I was going through and I was building a table, and I was in Netscape Navigator at the time. And I decided I'm going to try and put this background equals thing on a table row. I believe it was a table row. Could have been a table data element. And I put it on there, and it didn't do anything. Like the attribute just wasn't supported on the row or the data cell like itself. I wasn't quite sure which one it was. But I opened up, and I don't even know why I even knew to do this, because I was very, very kind of basic in my understanding of web development at the time. But I opened up Internet Explorer, and they did support the background attribute on the table row or whatever it was. And I decided at that point, like, I'm only going to develop for Internet Explorer. And so I became one of those people that has the best viewed in Internet Explorer button at the bottom of their page, because I could do a background image, but I couldn't do a background image inside Netscape Navigator. And I didn't really think, like, there are some people out there, they use Netscape, they don't know about IE, and it really wasn't good for the web. And so, today we look at, Edge today, and we look at, there's a giant mural in the hallway that says a web that works for everybody. And we don't want a web that only works inside one browser, because not everyone can use one browser. Not everybody should use one browser. We want a web that just works for everybody. And so whether or not you're inside Chrome or Vivaldi or Firefox or Brave or Opera or any other browser, or even IE or Edge, we want the web to work for you. And so we've kind of been working hard to espouse good development habits and ideas like progressive enhancement. So building out some type of basic platform for your site that is going to work across all browsers, and then start to progressively add things on top of it for some browsers and maybe not other ones. An example of that would be something like box shadows. You don't want to have a hard dependence on box shadows, because they're not going to be supported in some older versions of some browsers. You could progressively enhance or find some fallback. For instance, old versions of IE had the old filter property. We have a new filter property today, but there was an older filter property that had some proprietary code around it inside older versions of IE, and you could actually do a box shadow with some of that. So there's different ways to kind of responsibly develop on the web today, and that's one of the things that we've kind of really been encouraging here on the Edge team. And hopefully as an MVP and then in future capacities, I will continue to espouse those good ideas and encourage people to do things in very responsible ways. Okay, so there was a tweet that went out about 5 minutes ago that said, my final Microsoft Weekend Warrior. So if you have URLs you want to share, you can put them on that one if you want to, just as a response. Otherwise, I'm going to start on, I believe it was yesterday's tweet that has, I think there were about half a dozen or so URLs shared on there, and we'll get started on that here momentarily. So Tennessee Bighorn is saying, can you show an example? I believe Tennessee Bighorn, you're talking about an example of the background image thing, because we could totally go through an example of that real quick. I remember the IE5 only feature that could be used for animating various things. I'm trying to think what that could have been. IE5 only for animating. I'm not quite sure what that would have been. I mean, so around that time, just about every browser that was in the market, which was IE5, that would have been Netscape and IE really only. Both have pretty solid support for JavaScript, and so you'd have different ways to animate things that way. Didn't have really any CSS animations, no transitions or animation keyframes or anything. So you're going to show an example of the BG tag, but YouTube blocks it. You could try to use, instead of angle brackets, use square brackets if you wanted to write some markup. We'll just have to do the modification in our brains. Let's see. Let's see. So there's other questions here. I guess we're going to do a small Q&A before we get started today. So Carlos is asking why Microsoft Edge is not updated by Windows Store as the other UWP applications. There was a discussion a long time ago about taking that route. That would require some engineering work done. And the thing is that Windows 10, this took us all by surprise, honestly, or at least it took me by surprise. Windows 10 updates so rapidly that it's tough to justify doing any other additional work on Edge to make it update via the store, because Windows 10 itself is updated all the time. Especially if you're an insider, you get even earlier preview access into what we're doing inside Edge. And so right now it's it's just been sufficient to have Edge updated with Windows. I mean it's been working out really, really well. So. Yep. So Tennessee Bighorn said it's no big deal, just like the old code. I love the history of the web development art itself. My son, who is 6 years old, is learning web development. Let me see if I can pull up his site real quick. Let's see. I'm going to need to open up a new window. And I think his website is jonathansampson.github.io/IamJohnAnthony. Yep.
I'm John Anthony.
You may have heard that. This is my son's website. He is 6 years old. And if you come in here and you look at the source, you'll actually find that it has a lot of kind of historical throwbacks. So this is kind of what, let me just hide that sidebar right there to give us some more space here. Okay, so this is what I started him out with. There's no HTML element, there's no head element. Those aren't really necessary to render the page. And so I start him out with talking about what the title attribute is, or the title element, and showing him that whenever you change the title, the text in the tab is what changes. And then we have the body itself, and we can change the color of the body text by setting the text attribute to blue. And we can change the image on the background by setting the background property, or the background attribute, and then pointing that to a particular image. And then everything, to center it vertically or along the vertical center of the page, we use the center tag here that moves everything in as much as we can, all the inline elements and stuff. Got an H1 inside there. The marquee here, he loves that because it causes the text across the top to scroll. So if I were to Control A, you can see that text going across the top there. Got a few images. I showed him the event attributes. So on click right here, whenever you click on the element, we do something with it. In this case, we call Pikachu.play. Pikachu, you notice we don't have any variables set inside here, but in older versions of some browsers, and I think actually today, maybe even for some cross-browser compatibility, anything with an ID, and so if we scroll down here to the audio, you'll notice that there's an element with an ID of Pikachu that gets promoted to a global variable or global reference. So I can always reference this audio element just by calling with the name Pikachu. And so I can call the play method directly on top of that. And so that's the second image right here, which is the picture of his face. And then down a little bit further, we started looking at some basic JavaScript. So, by the same principle, Pikachu is a reference to this audio element. The second image up here has an ID. Where is it? Yeah, this ID right here of John Anthony. So I can reference that anywhere inside the code. So you notice John Anthony, whenever you click it, we put this function inside here. The function changes the source of John Anthony to this animated GIF, calls the no-click play. No-click is a reference to this audio element right here. And then for the on-ended event, which fires whenever the audio file is done playing, we put a function inside here that changes the picture or the source of John Anthony back to me.jpg. And so, yeah, you can see kind of what happens whenever you click on him.
Do not click on me.
He kind of bashes the screen a little bit.
Do not
So
click
we made
on
an animated GIF of him, kind of boomeranged it, looped it, caused it to go back and forth, and we also play this audio clip of him
Do not click on me.
saying, "Do not click on me." So he's really digging it. Mom wasn't exactly happy about Patrick ripping his flesh off, but you know, what are you gonna do? This is the internet. It's a ruleless, lawless society. So that's my son's webpage. He's really digging it. He's loving it. So, okay. Let's see. All right, let's go ahead and get started then. So, let's see what we're at. Where's my live dashboard? 46 minutes into this broadcast. All right. So, I'm going to pull up the first tweet that has some URLs that we can respond to. Looks like the very first one is going to be water.com. So this is a mobile one. So let's see if I can get my connect thing going here. I've never used this before, so we'll have to see how well it works. Okay, and I don't know that I'm even on the right Wi-Fi network. Oh, I am. Okay. So let's see if this works. Trying to go through Connect right now to see if it finds my Surface Book. Looks like it did. Sweet. Let's see if this works. Oh, this is magical. Oh, it's continuing. Wait. I see it, but I need mobile. What's going on? Whoa. What's happening? Okay, that was continuing. Okay, this is awesome. Now I need to see if I can get my mobile display real quick. Yeah, the continuing intro video. That was it's pretty wild. So this is literally the first time I've ever used this. I need to see if I can switch to Mobile Edge on here. Yep. Trying to figure out exactly. I may have to just go the old route instead of trying to learn how to use this real quick. This is very exciting, but it's super new to me right now, so I don't know that I can do much with this at the moment. Okay, yep, I'm gonna kill this. This is awesome. It looks like something that I would definitely enjoy, but I just need to take a few minutes to learn it. So I'm going to shut that down and just go to restart my device real quick. And I'm just going to use the Project My Screen app just to make sure that I am familiar and kind of able to get some stuff done. So project my screen app. That's inside the Windows Store. Kind of works out really well for me. It just requires me to plug my phone in, that's all. Okay, so I'm setting that up on the desktop now. Getting a few more URLs as well, so this is good. Okay, so this is, looks like it's all set up. Epic. Okay, so my phone is charging. Let's plug it in up here and see if Project My Screen app works for me now. I think it's actually, I wore the battery down a bit too much because it's kind of dead on me right now. So I may have to just wait a second before looking at that into the mobile, kind of debugging the mobile experience there. Let's see. So let's look at something else, see if we can move on to maybe a different one, loop back and touch on that one afterwards. So the other one is, looks like an Australian site, gumtree.com.au. Said it's to have horrible load times, lag, unusable, show number, CAPTCHA, etc. Unusable. Oh, my phone is turning on. So let's take a look real quick at this Gumtree thing. Got to log back into my remote device. Okay, so I'm going to share my desktop real quick, and then we'll go check out this this URL. Okay, so here I am on my remote device. I believe that should be broadcasting properly. And we're going to jump in and check out gumtree.com.au. And we're doing this at 50, that's right, I gotta take notes here. Keep track of what we're doing and when. At 53:52, looking at gumtree.com.au. So let's pull that up real quick and check it out, see if we can spot any issues. Oops. See how well this is working. So right now, let's see, loading up fairly decently for me. There's going to be some slight overhead as well because I am in a remote connection, so there may be some performance issues. But right now it looks like this is working, at least the initial page is working fairly well for me. Let me make sure that I am aware of all the issues that the user was reporting. Horrible load times, lag, unusable, show number, CAPTCHA. Unusable is what I'm being told. So unfortunately I don't get a build number. Let's see if I can see all. Seems to be, I mean, there's clearly a little bit of a lag here as it's loading things in, but it seems to be working fairly well. Let's see if we're looking for, I'm going to just type in boat, see what that brings up. Buying a boat? Sure, why not? So everything seems to be working fairly well for me. I mean, there are some ads on here. Ads are oftentimes, you know, as we've seen in recent videos and past debugging sessions, more often than not, they are the culprit of serious performance drain and stuff. So let's jump in real quick and see if we can't figure out if they are causing some performance-related issues on the site and exactly what impact they're having. So kind of standard approach to this is to open up the developer tools. So we can come up inside here and press F12 Dev Tools. You can also hit F12 on your keyboard. Let's see here. The Dev Tools are going to pop open for me, and I'm going to go to the Performance tab. And I'm going to start recording and get ready to press Control R to refresh the browser. So recording, hit Control R, that refreshes the entire page. And I'm just going to let that run until the tab up at the very top indicates that the page has loaded. So right now the tab shows that there's really no more loading taking place. I can see a couple minor layout issues taking place. You can see the tab actually just went dim for me, which means there's a long running script. So we should probably expect to see the frames per second drop a little bit there for just a few seconds as well on account of that long running script. So I'm going to hit stop profiling to generate a report because it looks like the page is maybe in its final state. And we will maximize this window. There may be some zooming issues. You can see right here, wondering what this, if this is maybe where the page became unresponsive. I mean, you can see the frames per second really drops next to 0 for a very, what is this? This is from 30 seconds. For about 25 seconds, we're getting very low frame rate. So there's definitely some stuff that's happening that is impacting the visual throughput considerably on this page. You can see I'm looking up here at the very top for the that actual kind of metric of time. So we start at 5 seconds here. If you look at the small application lifecycle markers right here, this is where the navigation event took place. So presumably this is when I hit Control R. And then all the way over to the far right, this is a DOM content loaded event. Looks like probably for an iframe right there. So we're going to see several of these small DOM content loaded events all throughout here. So there's another DOM content loaded event. You can see that that is looks like it might be for some ads as well. This is a load event, so that would be images or a document itself has loaded. DOM content loaded, so that's another document there, so that's probably also an ad. So we've seen, what, like 3 of those. There's a load event, navigation event, DOM content loaded event. So any one of these, you notice we have the kind of indicators, the color indicators at the very top to show us what it is we're seeing. So we see a lot of red all through here. Red is going to be scripting. So there's going to be a lot of DOM event handling, timers, script evaluation, animation frame callbacks. So you can see we actually do have quite a few timers right here. Some more timers ticking down here. We have messages. So messages oftentimes are 2 different windows or 2 different documents passing messages back and forth to one another, or at least one of them passing messages to the second. And so that is that's happening quite a bit here as well. So that for whatever reason, we have some cross-document communication where we're actually having some messaging taking place. A bunch of messaging taking place. You can see down here as well. This is the UI thread summary. So the UI thread is going to be kind of the core region that controls the perceived responsiveness of a page. If the UI thread is being burdened, if there's a lot of stuff happening on the UI thread, that's going to give you that slow jaggedness, that really kind of frustrating experience with the web page. And so you can see that the UI thread is 45% idle. So that means half of the recorded time, the UI thread wasn't really doing much of anything. The 20% of the time, we were doing script evaluation. 7%, we were handling DOM events. Another 7%, we were handling timers. The green is going to be layout. So 6% was for layout. Another 5.5% almost for style calculation. So we're actually trying to figure out, you have the DOM tree, you have the CSS object model tree, you're trying to figure out what to paint to the screen when you're looking at the structure and the layout and the style specifications, what to actually paint to the screen and everything. And then we obviously have some smaller items side here. Blue is loading, HTML parsing actually in this case. Let's see, painting about 2%, DOM access 2%, so not too terribly bad. Garbage collection, so that's picking up some unused references once they're all kind of done, they've outlived their usefulness. CSS parsing, pretty quick. And then lastly, mutation observers. So that is the ability to kind of respond to changes in the document. If you're saying I want to listen for mutations in the document that maybe add an iframe, I might want to react to those, respond, and do something as a result. Going to try and keep myself hydrated today. Haven't been really great at that in the past. So let's look at, I'm really curious what's happening inside this. It's about a 6-second window, it looks like. I'm going to come in and just select that. And we have a DOM load event. Looks like it might actually still be loading in my selection here. There we go. So in this 6-second window, you can see 35% of the time was spent on DOM event. In this case, it looks like a load event. With about 34% of the time was style calculations. So altogether, that's about 69 or 70% of the time was doing loading and styling. Let's go ahead and just expand out this DOM load event. So there's an event listener inside here. We'll expand that out. We have a bunch of... okay, so once we start to see get computed style, that is oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes associated with ad placement and making sure ads are visible on the screen themselves. I'm sorry, Michael West is distracting me now. I was like, what is Electric Mantis Infatuation? And apparently he's talking about the Continuum song. So you see here, we wind up, this is really interesting, setting the width to 209 pixels over and over and over and over again. We just there's a script on here that sets the width of something to 209 pixels over and over and over again. I'm going to expand out this right side selection so I can kind of get a better idea of what's going on inside here. Yeah, that's pretty wild. So we're also setting the inner HTML of an element here. Style calculation. Yep, here's an AdSense middle. So this definitely looks like it's ads taking place right here. So we do have a long portion of time here where we're spending a bit of spinning our wheels a little bit on ads. 728 by 90 is a common ad dimension as well. So you can notice that this HTTP request, we have a request here for ads, a request for ReactX. This might actually be based on the request for this adsafeprotected.com resource. That might actually be triggering the CDN1 ReactX file. We do have secure pub ads, double click, so that's going to be more ads right there. So this kind of whole region right here looks like it's kind of dedicated to ad rendering and requesting. So there could be definitely some performance issues with the site on account of ads. In this case, we can look at ways in which we could optimize the engine, definitely to see if there are certain optimizations that we can make to improve the experience. You might see a better experience by running an ad blocker or something like that as well. Ideally, you don't want to, this is kind of the internal struggle of, websites, they need to make money to survive. But at the same time, ads can be dangerous, heavy, costly, and in this case, they can negatively impact the performance of the site. So there's only so much we can do shy of stripping all the ads out, which that is a decision that some people have decided to make. It's not one that the Edge team has decided. Ideally, we want to not manipulate the web as much as we can, and just try and make the engine itself far more optimized. So we could do some performance testing on this site. We could identify maybe some areas in which we could improve the performance of certain internal functions in the Edge browser itself, so that the ads that are shown could be shown without being so costly to the visual throughput of the site. You can see the FPS of the site drops, and that's not first-person shooter, but the frames per second drops to very, very low. It looks like maybe just a couple of frames per second whenever we're doing all the scripting and stuff. So definitely very costly. If I were just to expand out this selection to that full region, there's quite a bit of stuff that's just taking place inside here. Again, when we look at the application lifecycle markers across the top, there is, let's see, a request here for Google ad, presumably. There is, what is this? So we have probably a small iframe here for a boat, it looks like. Actually, that's the load event for the page that I'm on. There's a load event for the page that I'm on. And what else do we have going on here? Navigation for Google syndication. So that's going to be presumably ads. And then we get into, I'm trying to see, it would actually be nice if I didn't have to keep hovering over this. It's tough to say what this is. Storage frame. Yeah, it's tough to say exactly what that is as well. But there's definitely a lot of stuff going on here that drops the frames per second. So we could file a bug on this. Definitely have someone come in, take a closer look at it. I'm going to go ahead and make a note here and say FPS drops for extended period of time. And we could definitely file a bug on this and see if there are ways that we can improve the experience without causing the frames per second to drop down so dramatically. I'm going to go over to bugs.microsoftedge.com and see if I can log in real quick. Maybe we'll file an issue on this. So I need to put in my Microsoft account. That's your Hotmail, your Live, or your Outlook.com address. Happen to use a Hotmail one from back in the day. I'm going to switch back to my scene number 1 and log in. So we're going to file an issue here for gumtree.com.au, and just note that it was about, what was it, 25 seconds or so, the frames per second drops to just about 0. Yeah, it's about 25 seconds or so. So we'll say open new issue. FPS drops to single digits for 25 seconds on gumtree.com.au. And I will put this inside performance. Performance is going to be on reliability. The steps where I want to make sure I have the right URL that we were looking at over here. This is, yeah, I did a search for boats. What was that repro? So I'm going to go to gumtree.com.au. It's important to always get as much accurate detail as you possibly can. And I'm going to do a search for a boat. And let's see what we get here. So this gives me motorboats, powerboats. Okay, so I'm going to copy this URL. Step 1, navigate to here. Step 2, open developer tools, start performance trace. Step 3, Control R to refresh page. Let record for 45 seconds. And step 4, note considerable and extended drop in frames per second. Okay, so I believe this will be good. Now, I'm curious if anybody else is out there and you're watching this right now, if you could open up Microsoft Edge and you could navigate to gumtree.com.au. Once you get there, there's going to be a search box in the middle of the page. If you were just watching the scenario, then you kind of saw me go through these series of steps. Just type in the word boat and press enter. After you've done that, open up the developer tools. You can do so by pressing F12, and that's pretty much standard across all browsers now. Press F12 to open up the developer tools. Go to the performance tab. Start performance tracing, and that might take a couple seconds. But once you see that animation going across that indicates you're actually tracing your recording events, hit Control R to refresh the page. You don't have to click on the page to do that. If you hit Control R from within the developer tools, the page will still refresh. Wait about 45 seconds or so for the page to fully load. Again, look at the tab at the very top. You'll be noticing there's a loading icon. Once that has gone away, just for a few more seconds more, let it continue tracing, and then hit stop on the performance trace. You should see, if you see a large drop in the frames per second, which is going to be that blue bar. So let me go back and share my screen here. If you see this drop right here, I'm going to clear my selection. If you see the frames per second is at about 60 right here, and then it just drops and plunges down to single digits, like maybe 1 or 2. We get a little bit more frames per second throughput right here. You might have to switch the stream of the video to 1080p in order to really see this. But right here you get, one. We get 1 frame per second. And then it starts to pick up over here. We get 10 frames per second. And then we're back up to 60 right around here. If you see that, then I want you to go to the bug that I'm filing and click Me Too. And that will help us indicate that the problem is not just me on my machine. And I'm on a Surface Book. Actually, no, this is a remote connection. But still, this is a ThinkPad X1 Carbon. Good device. Should work out really well. So I'm going to, put this inside here. I'm going to share the tweet where this was reported as well. So this was Murray Weber on Twitter reported this to me yesterday. And I'm going to copy this and put that inside the bug itself. And okay, yep, so this is going to work out really well. Let's see, FPS drops to single digits for 25 seconds on gumtree.com.au. Let's go ahead and open the issue. Found this on, what are we on, 14.9.15, I believe. Impacts Microsoft Edge. Add details to issue. So this bug number is going to be 8831405. I'll go ahead and post that inside the chat real quick. Once I find it, there it is. So if you're able to reproduce this issue, if you see the same thing in your set of the developer tools, then please go to that bug that you'll see inside the chat window. I believe it might be over here. Actually, I need to switch my view so that it's actually over there. So let me minimize this. Scene 1, there we go. Now the chat window is up. If you also see that frames per second drop whenever you go there in your profile in the page, please jump over, click the link inside chat right now, go to that bug, click Me Too on the side of it. You'll have to log in first to actually see that button, and that'll help us get the number of instances for that bug up so that we can have an engineer go in and look a little more closely at the particular issue and see if we can maybe optimize some of our implementations to make an overall better experience on the site. Some of this is definitely something that we can do to improve the experience. But oftentimes the websites themselves may have to do something as well. Ideally, we can take as much of the burden on us and less on the actual site authors. So yes, that will take care of gumtree.com.au. I'm going to go ahead and share with the individual that we took care of that, file the bug, and let them know that we appreciate them sharing the report with us. All right, so I'm going to reply to that. And let's look at the next one. So my phone is working now. I should be able to look at water.com. I'm going to go ahead and... So that filling when boredom says looks like a bug in 14.393.82. If you see it in 3.9.3 as well, that means it was there as early as 3.9.3. Some of these performance issues, they may be there since 10.2.40 or 10.5.86. Which is July and November, respectively, of 2015. So, items might have been there. We've been working really hard to kind of increase performance, make the sites that are commonly, visited work even better. I've seen amazing improvements on TweetDeck personally, and so as you continue to use TweetDeck, you should see that in further builds moving forward. The experience gets even kind of more improved. Oh, I see. Okay, didn't go that well. Page reloads, DevTools closed when I click on performance. Oh, yeah, that stinks. That's not good. If you're able to consistently repro that, the DevTools closing whenever you click on performance, let's consider filing a bug for that. So see if you can repro that. If that happens for you every time you go to that page, that would be a great bug to file. Yeah. So I'm going to check out real quick. I'm going to look at water.com on my phone. So what time marker are we at? 1 hour and 17 minutes. We're starting on water.com. Mobile. Okay, and... Oh yeah, so Twitter, actually Twitter and TweetDeck are gonna be similar issues. So we've actually found ways to improve, some inner caching of different resources and stuff. Our, spell checker also was something that we were able to optimize. Spell checker happens, it gets invoked a lot on Twitter and TweetDeck. There's a lot of stuff that that would trigger it, and so we've optimized that in recent builds. Internal caches as well. We're able to optimize those, and so that should make Twitter and TweetDeck and sites like them work just a little bit better in more recent builds. So let's look at water.com. I'm going to pull this up on my mobile device real quick and look at Robert's kind of feedback there. So let's see, I'm pulling up water on my phone. Hit the login button. Where is the login? It's probably going to be inside the hamburger menu. Maybe this small icon of a faceless avatar. Okay, cool. So I'm on the login page, I believe. So Robert says the issue is mobile version of water.com, hit the login button with or with no creds, goes to the password reset. Oh, I see what he's saying. Okay, so we have a login button on here. If I click on that, it goes to the password reset. Yes, it does. Okay, awesome. And I want to see, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And I need to switch to this view so you can see kind of what I'm looking at here. So this is water.com. You can go straight to this page here. And this actually looks like a desktop version of the page. This does not look like a one that is specifically engineered for mobile displays. But sure enough, if I come in here and I click on, password field comes up, the keyboard, click off of that. I'm going to click on log in. Now you notice there is a kind of close proximity. The login button is just above the forgot password. So, you know, I have to make sure that I'm not using kind of fat finger syndrome and that I'm mashing the forgot password button whenever I hit log in. So I'm going to hit log in. Okay, so that actually might be the issue. These things are so close. Yeah, that's very easy for me to kind of mess that up a little bit and accidentally click forgot password. So if I click at the top of login, you notice I'm actually getting redirected for the to the login page. So I think this might just be a matter of really, you know, the unfortunate proximity of the forgot password link and the login button. So I don't know if Robert is watching right now. Let me go ahead and ping him real quick and let him know. Looking at this now on, I need to grab the URL of the broadcast. That's youtube.com/c/Jonathan Sampson live. Looks like it's working for me. So just responded to Robert to let him know that we're checking this out. If he's inside chat, hopefully he'll let me know if this is something he's able to reproduce. If you have a Windows phone, I would definitely love for anybody else to check this out as well. There's the URL at the bottom of the screen. It is water.com/self-serve/login.jsf. And we'll see if anyone else is able to reproduce this. But it seems like it's just going to be an unfortunate kind of layout issue where when you're trying to click on login, you wind up clicking on forget password. Because you notice if I'm really careful and I zoom the page in, I can actually click on it. So I think this is going to be a no repro. So TFW boredom also cannot repro. I think this might be kind of an open and closed case right here. And so I'm able to click on it just fine. And I'm able to click on the link just fine as well. Yeah, if you don't have Project My Screen app, you've got to get it. I mean, this is right now I'm using my mouse to kind of scroll around on here. Really digging it. Let's see, I log in. Love this. I love this app. It's so cool. So I'm going to say this is a no repro. Hopefully Robert is able to check this out later on. Let me know if I'm missing something here. But for the time being, it looks like it's working just fine for me. So no repro. Let's look at the next URL here. So the next one to come up looks like Major League Baseball video playback issue. So let's try that out real quick. We are at 1 hour, 23 minutes, 55 seconds. And we're going to check out m.nationals.mlb.com/video. So this one I might wind up using Fiddler to manipulate some of these pages so that we can kind of debug them moving forward. Am I using the Brave browser hinting? I don't know what that means. I'm using Edge right now on my phone. Anyway, let's see. Is that like a feature thing or something that I should be familiar with? Does the Brave browser have some type of debugging thing that I could be using? So let's see here. I'm going to be looking at m.nationals.mlb.com/video. Yeah, so TFW Boredom is noticing that I have a lot of browsers on my taskbar. I've got, let's see, down here from left to right, Edge, Firefox, Brave, Chrome, Chrome Canary, the Firefox developer browser. I had Opera and stuff as well, but it's essentially using WebKit, so I can get my WebKit testing between Chrome and Brave. I think they're both WebKit, both Blink actually. Opera is Blink as well. Let's see. I have a lot of browsers, yes, as people are noticing in my taskbar. Not enough, though. I could always get more. I used to have Vivaldi and stuff in there as well. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, I need to type in the address bar. Here, let me type in this URL. So nationals. m.nationals.mlb.com / where's my / there it is. It's underneath my thumb. Video. So loading this up real quick. I hope this doesn't require me to sign in order to repro the issue, because that would be a problem. I don't actually have a Major League Baseball account or anything. Now I don't see, okay, here's some videos. So let's click on one of these and see what happens. So maybe there's supposed to be a video right here. Oh, I think there is. This is a video, isn't it? If I hold down, I can see a pause button. Okay, so yeah, there's definitely an issue here. Let me see if I can open this up on desktop and kind of repro. So I'm going to open up a new browser window here. Which, am I showing my desktop right now? I guess I need to make sure that I'm actually showing my desktop. Yep, I am. Okay, good. All right, so I'm going to navigate to the same page. nationals.mlb.com / video.
What's better than getting 25%
There we
off
go.
your next prescription of Viagra? How about getting 50% off your next 3 prescriptions of Viagra? Click to see
Okay,
if you're
so
eligible
apparently
and learn more
I
about Viagra at
am in the
Viagra.com.
demographic that
Or text 50% off to
needs
37,500.
Viagra commercials. I guess, yeah, I don't know. Maybe they just assume if I like baseball, I'm a middle-aged man. Okay, so I'm going to come down here and click on a video real quick, and we'll see what happens. Actually, where's my mouse cursor? There it is. So my mouse is not showing inside my browser window for some reason. What in the world happened there? That's interesting. My mouse is not rendering inside Edge. So I might need to kill Edge and start up again. This is, yeah, oh, no, there it is. There it is. It's scrolling in there. Now it's come back. Okay. Let me try and play a video real quick.
Here's the pitch, and a swing and a drive, deep center field. Borges going back.
Now I can hear the video playing, but I definitely don't see anything playing. It's tough to tell what. Oh, wait. Yeah, there's definitely something going on here. This will definitely merit some performance testing because you can see the page is incredibly unresponsive. Oh, goodness, I'm not even sharing the screen. Shame on me. Here we go. Let me try this again. Wow. Something is really putting the hurt on this machine right now. It's probably... Oh, goodness. Okay. So my machine is responsive now, but I no longer have the chat window open. I think that site honestly just plunged me into like non-responsiveness. So that was not a good experience. I do definitely need to do some performance testing on that, because that was a particularly bad experience. I wonder if I may have to do that from my desktop, because the remote connection, actually the remote connection would probably be a better way to go. That would have kind of isolated the runaway scripting from my main streaming device, so that I wouldn't be kind of negatively impacted there. Wow. So I'm just going to file a bug for that straight away, and probably loop back and check that out, because that was a pretty bad experience. So let's go to hi Colleen.
Hello.
I'm gonna go file a bug right now on this MLB website, and then take a short break. So bugs.microsoftedge.com. And open up a new issue. Let's see here. I want to grab the tweet that actually brought this to my attention, so the gentleman gets credit for destroying my machine. So that's David Smedberg on Twitter. Let's see here. Now David was actually reporting this as a mobile issue, but this looks like this is one of them fancy types of performance issues that are going to negatively impact both mobile and desktop, possibly in this case, because I'm on my Surface Book i7. Now, granted, I am streaming a high resolution video right now, and so there's a considerable amount of strain on the machine. But that failed gloriously whenever I tried to access that in Edge. And so we definitely do want to take a closer look at that, see if there's some way that we can improve that experience. So I'm going to let David know that I just checked this out. And I'm going to file that bug right now to give David some credit. So we're going to say MLB video streaming causes Edge to lock up. And the category is going to be inside performance again. So if you are familiar with Todd Reifstack, I've mentioned him a couple times on Twitter. Todd is going to be fairly busy here. He's one of our performance gurus. So I'll say navigate to, what was that? That was m.nationals.mlb.com/video, if I'm not mistaken. Try to play a video. That's a pretty simple repro step right there. Just go to the URL and click on the video and see what happens. And note immense performance issues. So let's see, I want to make sure that is the appropriate URL. I don't think I can do HTTPS, so looks like a certificate issue if you try to go over to a secure connection. Okay. So I'm going to change that away from HTTPS then. And I'm going to put in the original reported URL. To give the gentleman credit for his fine contribution. And make this a public bug. So this is going to be, if anybody else repros this on their machine as well, bug number Edge, this is going to be bug number 8831508. So let me paste that into the chat window for anybody else who was able to reproduce the issue as well. If you could go and log in to bugs.microsoftedge.com, Again, you have to use your MSA, your Microsoft account. So that's your Outlook or your Hotmail or your Live account, one of those. And just click Me Too on the side of that to indicate that you also saw this problem. That way we can determine whether or not it's kind of more isolated to my hardware profile, or if it's something that we can kind of repro across various different devices, across different builds as well. So if you are not on build 14.9.15, which is the current Insider fastering build, if you're on something other than that, please indicate that inside of a comment so that we can kind of correlate with which builds we're seeing the issue, or if it's across multiple builds. So if you're on something like 10.5.86 or 14.3.9.3, which is the anniversary update, having that indicated in the comments is going to be super helpful for us, kind of getting a feel for the scope and the expanse of this particular issue. So that should be good for right now. I'm going to make sure I respond back to David here on Twitter. And that's a good place to take a quick break. So we are at about an hour and a half into this stream. I'm going to go and kind of refuel a little bit, hang out with my good buddy Colleen, the smartest person in the world. I've mentioned that several times on Twitter here. So if you need anything answered, anything at all, Edge specifically, but life in general, Colleen Williams on Twitter, I can definitely help you out there. And I'll be back shortly here to kick off another broadcast. So if you have more URLs you want to share, more sites that you want to report, things you want to do some performance testing, we can definitely do that. And I look forward to seeing all of you again here in probably 30, 45 minutes or so. Thank you for joining me on today's first broadcast. Bye.